So we now get underway with our second DD2 final here at Wackersdorf. And here is your grid. Zonder Schriblak will lead the field from pole position ahead of Peter Bezel. Daniel Mahacek and Nick Knowlton complete the top two rows ahead of Marcel Steinert and Florian Weidenbach. Nicolas Picot and Mark Bartels row 4 with Matthias Lund and Jakob Bezel rounding out the top 10 positions. Sebastian Janchevsky and Imke Arts row 6. Luke Schiepers and Oliver Breitenbach row 7. Wout Antonissen, Jiri Matajek, Manuel Tenchert, Zendrua, Glenn van Parijs and Maxim Derich round out the top 20 positions. Silas Ritter and Jan Negussens, I'm pleased to see, are both back on the grid, but it is a non-start for Niklas Krens. In terms of the championship dynamic, it has got even closer than I thought permittably possible. But Van Parijs leads by a single point. He's still got 41 to his credit, but Peter Bezel now jumps into the spotlight with 40 to his credit. Manuel Tenchert rounds out the top 3, still on 38 points, as Zonder Schriblak makes his presence well and truly felt on 36. And Silas Ritter rounds out the top 5 on 30, having not started final number 1. "22 drivers ready to go into battle for 14 minutes plus an additional lap. Race director looking again for a clean start. Red lights on the gantry. They crawl their way into the tram lines. Revs rise. Clean start called and we're off and away. As now Mick Knowlton looks to be passed going into the first couple of corners as they filter their way down into turn 4 for the first time. And it looks like we've had Marcel Steinert join at the back of the field, so he started from the pre-grid as everyone is trying to jockey for position through turn 6. Knowlton has dropped way back down the order. But at the moment, Schriblak leads from Peter Bezel as Nicolas Picot now gets past Daniel Mahacek in the early exchanges to go P3. So the Frenchman fancies his chances of trying to score some valuable points. Daniel Mahacek is in 4th place. And just behind him is Matthias Lund, Florian Breitenbach and Sebastian Janchevsky, not too far adrift. Well, Janchevsky has actually dropped down out of the top 7 positions and now is in 8th, ahead of Jakob Bezel and Imke Arts, who completes the top 10. Mark Bartels, Zendrua, Manuel Tenchert, Jiri Matajek and also Glenn van Parijs now complete the top 15 positions. But the field is incredibly concertinaed. There's running wide. That was Imke Arts, I believe, that just went straight lining off of turn number 8 as Silas Ritter trying to go up the inside to make a position on Jiri Matajek. As Janchevsky also tries to get through on the 437 and Luke Schiepers and has got past. So Luke Schiepers was up into 7th, he's now down into 8th. And he pulled one of the best moves at Karting Genk around the outside of Jakob Bezel and Frederik Jerich just 4 weeks ago, going through around the outside of turn 5. And there is a significant gap between where you have Jakob Bezel, you have Zendrua a little bit on his lonesome in 10th place, but Mark Bartels just gets passed by Glenn van Parijs for 11th position. Now the fight back begins. But it's the fight at the front that is also going to provide a new chapter in this story in 2020. With over 20 drivers from multiple different nationalities, at least 8, having made their way here to Pro Cup Raceland in Wackersdorf. As Florian Breitenbach now gets past Nicolas Picot for P3. Mahacek rounding out the top 5 as Matthias Lund closes on the back of Sebastian Janchevsky through turn 3, 4 position. Janchevsky goes defensive, but then Luke Schiepers is looking to try and get past and does so, and here comes Zendrua. trying to find his way past. So the drivers now, Jakob Bezel has got Zendarua in the 409 from SSC, closing on his back bumper through turn 11. As Glenn Van Parijs just is trying to get his head down, as up the inside of the 488 of Mark Bartels goes Manuel Tencha through turn 12. But Bartels retaliates and takes the position back through turn 13 and gets ahead for turn 14. As now Jakob Bezel having to fight with Zendarua, who looks towards the inside through turn 4, as now Bezel trying to go up the inside of the 437 of Luke Scheepers, and both well, it was nearly him and also Zendarua, but Darua gets compromised trying to get past, and that allowed the 419 of Glenn Van Parijs to get past in the process. 4 minutes gone, 10 to go. Zander Triblack continues to lead this race, and Van Parijs is the one that has got the fire quite literally stoked in the belly as he's put in the fastest lap of 49.655 from the 419 from Belgium. Zander Triblack has nearly a half a second lead over what is now going to be Florian Breidenbach, not Peter Bezel in second position. A great move by the Nice Racing driver on the Maranello chassis, representing Germany. A great move there to take second from the Czech driver. Nikola Pico is just ahead of Daniel Mahacek. Janchevsky rounds out the top 6. Lund, Jakob Bezel, Glenn Van Parijs, Zendarua and Luke Scheepers, they round out the top 11 positions. Rounding out the 15 positions that will score points will be Luke Scheepers, apart from Luke Scheepers, will be still out to return Mark Bartels, Manuel Tencha, and also Oliver Breidenbach. The lead now was just under half a second. It's over half a second between Triblack and Breidenbach for the lead. But Peter Bezel not finished yet. He still has plenty of time. As Van Parijs looking to go up the inside of Jakob Bezel, who goes defensive into turn number 6. And Bezel knew that Van Parijs was coming and decided to throw on a quick defence into turn 6, and that has allowed Zendarua to now close up on the pair. As now Van Parijs tries to go up the inside of Jakob Bezel through turn number 11, but can't get through. There was not enough of a gap to do so. So 21 drivers still circulating. Imke Arts, that was a real shame for the Dutch driver on the 413 on the Virulant chassis, who was running at the bottom part of the top 10. As now Van Parijs strikes past Jakob Bezel for position. Up into 8th goes the Belgian. Now Zendarua fancies his chance at the defending champion and goes up the inside and manages to make the move happen, and doesn't allow Jakob Bezel to retaliate through turn 7, 8 and 9. And Luke Scheepers is keeping pace with the defending champion. Florian Breidenbach still keeping in distance within Zander Triblack. And it just depends on how the permutations of the virtual championship standings will sit at the end of this, because if Zander Triblack holds on to that lead, he will go out of this round with a total of 61 points, and that will pretty much put him nigh on the top of the standings. Van Parijs now battling with Matthias Lund. And that is over 7th position, as now the lead changes through turn 11. Florian Breidenbach gets past Zander Triblack for the lead on lap number 9. But Triblack does not want him to hang on to that for very long. Gets into the slipstream, over across into turns 2 and 3. Triblack will have the run if he gets it down into turn 4. Can't close up enough towards the braking zone, and this is allowing Peter Bezel, Nikola Pico, Daniel Mahacek and Sebastian Janchevsky. Now Janchevsky had a disaster on final save at Karting Gate 4 weeks ago, but he has started to fight back. Glenn Van Parijs now ahead of Matthias Lund, and that will give him a total of 9 points, putting him on 50. But it's about how much ground he can cover over the next 5 3/4 minutes plus an additional lap to those in front. And this is where the hard work begins. A first lap incident that involved Glenn Van Parijs meant he did not score points, so he puts him on the back foot in this race. So that just gives him the motivation he needs, as now Zendarua are up the inside of Matthias Lund. 4th position through turn 6. Time fast ticking away. And Florian Breitenbach in clean air is quicker than anybody at the moment. A 49.445 from the German. Marcel Steinert getting past Wout Antonissen for 19th. Oliver Breitenbach getting past Mick Knowlton for the last of the points-paying positions. Glenn Van Parijs is absolutely relentless on putting the pace down. He is using this. He's putting in qualifying style laps. Here at the moment, he's just put in a 49.404, but then that's quickly deposed by Manuel Tenschert, who's now up into 12th position. The Austrian puts in a 49.355 second lap time. Mick Knowlton still trying to make his way past Oliver Breitenbach for a single solitary point. We now cross the line to complete lap 12 with 4 minutes on the clock remaining. Breitenbach now has a lead over Zander Schöblack of nearly 7/10 of a second. Peter Bezel a further 4/10 off. And then who has Nicolas Picot actually having gone past him. So the Frenchman back up into P3. So Picot looking to make good his intentions. The runner-up at the Winter Cup earlier on this year, which Zander Schöblack took in fine style with the double victory, which gave him a full season pass for this year. Nicolas Picot took a 2-race entry as a result of his second place in late February at Karting Campillos, but now he's coming under fire once again from Peter Bezel. Janchevsky keeping pace with Mahacek in the battle for 5th place. Van Parijs still trying to close on those in front, and is fractionally quicker by about 1/10 of a second on Janchevsky. He's got about 1.2 seconds to find in the next just under 3 minutes plus an additional lap. And Zendarua, now in clean air, has got a chance to move, and he's using that to his advantage. He's just taken 81 thousandths of a second out of Glenn Van Parijs in pure lap pace last time around. As Matthias Lund now has Jakob Bezel for company. Luke Schiepers is a further nigh on 4/10 of a second away from that battle. But Florian Breitenbach continues to extend a lead up to 1.039 seconds. And for the second lap in a row, he goes and puts in a 49.3 second lap time. As up the inside of Matthias Lund goes Jakob Bezel for 9th place. Lund tried to retaliate through turn 7, but there was not enough room. So it's still all to play for. Just over a minute and a half remaining. As Florian Breitenbach again goes faster than anybody on the 433 Nice Racing Maranello chassis. Gets a gap of over 1.2 seconds after 15 laps of racing completed. As Zendarua in the meantime has just gone nearly 0.2 of a second quicker than Glenn van Parijs. If Parijs stays where he is, he will be on 50 points at the end of this and will lose the championship lead. Manuel Atencio currently running in 12th position. Will end up on 42 points, but it will be looking like Sander Schimblak will take the lead in the standings after the second round, provisionally speaking. And that will put him on 56 points. 3 ahead of Peter Bezel, with Glenn van Parijs making it 6 points between the top 3. But that is, I'm just keeping my eyes on what's going up in front, because Janchevsky is being caught. Janchevsky is being caught by van Parijs and also Zendrua, who is now in touch with the 419 and put in a 49.322. Van Parijs a 49.515. So we go on to the final lap. Black and white warning flag for the 426 of Jiri Matacek. So it will be 2 different winners here at Wackersdorf. As up the inside of Daniel Mahacek goes Sebastian Janchevsky, as Glenn van Parijs continues to hold on for 7th position in the dying stages of the race. Leader now going through turn number 11 for the final time. And behind Jakob Bezel, there's a 3-way scrap between Luke Scheepers and Manuel Atencio, who goes up the inside of the 437 through turn number 11. Great move there by the Austrian, as Scheepers tries to dice up the inside. But this time it is going to be Florian Breidenbach who wins on home soil here at Wackersdorf. Sander Schimblak takes 2nd. Nicola Pico takes 3rd ahead of Peter Bezel. Sebastian Janchevsky takes 5th at the dying moments of the race from Daniel Mahacek. Glenn van Parijs holds on to 7th, ahead of Zendrua, Jakob Bezel and Matthias Lund round out the top 10. Manuel Atencio in 11th, ahead of Luke Scheepers, with Mark Bartels, Mick Knowlton and Oliver Breidenbach rounding out the top 15. Silas Stritter 16th, Jan Nickerson 17th, ahead of Marcel Steinert, Wout Antonis and Jiri Matacek, with Maxim de Vries being the last of the 21 classified drivers that completed the 18 laps, with an unfortunate retirement for Imke Hartz, who went straight off on turn number 9 on the first lap of the race, with Niklas Krens a non-starter.